of unlimited possibilities presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, 5-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and co-founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. Tonight we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Brittany Brooks. A little bit about her. For years, Brittany Brooks wore masks to cover her brokenness, insecurities, and the dark secrets that she carried for over 12 years. She suppressed her pain into what she likes to call a cover girl. A cover girl is a woman who pretends to be okay on the outside, but in truth, her spirit is dying on the inside. It wasn't until God broke this misconception of how she saw herself. No longer did he want Brittany to place periods after her brokenness. Instead, he placed a semicolon on her heart to symbolize that he is not finished with her yet. Today, Brittany is a minister by calling, an empowerment speaker by nature, a writer by passion, a philanthropist at heart, and the author and founder of Finding Love and Purpose. Finding Love and Purpose is a movement that is committed to shifting women from losing themselves to loving themselves. This safe platform empowers women from all walks of life to grow in their walk with God, to live their purpose unapologetically out loud, and to fully embrace their self-worth. Brittany is also the host and founder of her weekly devotional, Cup of Joe. Cup of Joe stands for Jesus over everything. We were never designed to carry our burdens on our own, but to give everything to Jesus. Brittany Brooks is a firm believer that prayer and devotion changes things. Join Brittany every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Eastern to get your refill on all things God and purpose. Welcome to the table, the amazing Brittany Brooks.
Hi, Ashley. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm excited to be here. Definitely excited. Very humble at that to be here. So this is a great experience.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. I know you're going to share some amazing wisdom and knowledge with my listeners. So would you please tell us more about your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, absolutely. So that's a good question to kick it off. It really developed when I was a child. I grew up around strong business influencers, basically my family. So one being my father, not only was he in the military, but he also had his own, HVAC business, his heating and air business. And then my mother, she's business savvy herself, so she was in sales. And then I have aunts that are doctors, but not only that, he also owns her home health care business. And then no other than, my grandparents who own several properties with their community. So that was always in my blood to create my own. And because of that, I was, being blessed with that background, it's always been something for me where I had to work hard for what you believe in. And so that's what my parents taught us. And if you want it, you have to go out and create it. So one of the things I did growing up, before I went to college, I knew that I didn't want my parents to pay for anything. I knew that I wanted to give them a break from that. They've done enough already. So how can I be that solution? I thought about how could I be a solution to a problem. And I started to think about, what do people like or what they wish they need help in. And so I started my own cleaning business at the age of 15 or 16 and going to different homes and businesses and just cleaning. And from that, I was blessed to not only go to college, as a full ride, because I got a scholarship, but those extra monies that I took in, from my own business, it helped save or helped me pay for things that the scholarships did not cover. So that was where everything was birthed out, I would say. But during college, that's when my gift of writing really grew. That's where doors began to open, and my creativity and writing came very easily, especially in college. And so I was just wondering, how do I turn this passion into actual, purpose? How do I turn this gift into a purpose? And that's when I knew I wanted to write, but I didn't know how to get that story out to the public. And so one thing led to another. I went the self-publishing route. I did everything on my own, and next thing you know, Flip is published, the blogs are coming forth, devotionals are coming forth, I'm traveling, speaking about the book and so forth and so forth. So that's really how it started, from the parents, and then from that gift grew into what I'm doing now.
I love it. So, Brittany, you are passionate about helping women who lost themselves helping them to start loving themselves again. So, tell us more about your passion.
Okay, great. So I would say definitely, Ashley, today more than ever, I am really living my purpose out loud. And as you said, my biggest thing is to empower women to do the same. As you read in my bio, there was a period in my life where I covered my pain and I settled in it. So not only did I cover it up, but I settled in that pain. And just some background, I grew up in a very traditional church setting, where I rarely saw anyone be transparent. And so because of that, I bottled everything inside. I was afraid to be open about some of the things that I had struggled with because I grew up in that traditional setting. So to the point where I began to wear masks, I lost my identity, just different things like that I do talk about in my book. But from that point, my mission was to shift women from losing themselves into loving themselves, and from living in fear to living in faith, from being shackled, in their pain, to really unlocking their purpose. And then for one, I wanted to be a generational curse breaker. I didn't want anyone to fall victim of a bloodline of being something that they're not supposed to be. And so from that, I wanted to be transparent. And I'm a firm believer that transparency is a bridge to transformation. And from that's why I decided, okay, since I'm an overcomer, now I'm on a different type of assignment. And that assignment is to teach women to not allow people to dictate the direction or any of the content of their purpose. So that is my passion, to really just shift women and shift that mindset and say, hey, you can live your purpose out loud. With no excuses, no limitations, you just going full force.
And that's so important, right? Following our purpose and living our purpose. Because, when you're not purposeful or walking in your purpose, it will show, right? So it's so important for us to know our purpose and walk in it, right, and embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
So what is some advice you would give to the cover girl that's listening?
Oh, wow. That is a good question. I would definitely say the advice that I would give, for one, for me, I had to really change my mindset. And I want people to look at mindset not as one word, but actually look at it as two words, and basically say, where is your mind sitting? Where is it set? And is it set on the promises of God? Is it set on your purpose? Or is it set on being a prisoner of your past? And so for me, I had to shift my mindset, and I'll tell anyone that's the first thing that you're supposed to do, to really shift that mindset. Because sometimes we'll set our mind on negative things. Sometimes we'll set our mind on things that are not even healthy for us. And so therefore, whatever you set your mind in, that's what you'll begin to attract. And so for me, I had to set my mind on things above. I had to set my mind on the positive things, and really just set my mind on purpose. Like, this is what I want from me. No more excuses. Like I said, no more masks, no more cover-ups. I really wanted to set my mind really in freedom. And that's where I would tell any cover girl, that is settling in that realm, to really change and shift your mindset, because that's where it starts. You can dress it up, but the more you dress it up and not change that mind, it's not going to work. So I would say that's the first thing that you have to do, is change your mindset.
So for our listeners that are listening, that maybe that cover girl that's, have the mask on the outside, but it's really hurting the inside, definitely start with, changing your mindset, because that's so important, right? That we manifest what we want to happen in our lives, right? Speaking what we want and thinking it as well.
Okay.
So what are some strategies? So what are some strategies, Brittany, you would give to women who are going through a season of brokenness right now? Because I know you talked about your journey with brokenness and how you've recovered from that and grew from that. Could you talk more about that?
About my personal journey of brokenness?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So for me, my book is basically about my own journey of brokenness. And I really, because I lost my identity, I didn't know who I was, I settled in relationships that that was not healthy for me. I would just say toxic relationships because I didn't love myself. You know, you always hear you got to love yourself first before anyone can love you. Well, Brittany did not love herself. And because of that, I began to settle in relationships that were just very unhealthy, relationships where I was cheating on, and I still stayed, relationships where that man was very verbally and mentally and even emotionally abusive. I stayed in that. And because I didn't love myself, I settled in those type of relationships. So I would tell anyone, you know, that was my state of brokenness. It wasn't until like I said, I shifted that mindset, and I would say in my book I talk about changing your life anthem. No more that I wanted to have an anthem of pain and settling, but I wanted that anthem of I am free. You know, I am beautifully, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And once I started to shift that, that's when that whole brokenness, I was like, God, take my brokenness and bring it into beauty. And I began to love myself. I began to, you know, do things for me. What does Brittany want? What does happiness look like for Brittany? And so from that, that's what I started to do. So that's really, you know, my story in a nutshell. But I decided I have to first love myself. You can't expect someone to love you. You know what I mean? You can't expect anyone to love you until you love you first and allow God to teach you everything in regards to yourself. So
I love that because it's so important that we take care of ourselves first and that we love ourselves first. And that's what people have to remember. For our listeners that are listening, they have to pour into ourselves first and build us up before we can pour into anybody else. So, Brittany, do you have any, you know, thoughts about that, you know, pouring into yourself, you know, the self-care, any advice you would give to listeners on that?
Well, absolutely. I would say for me, I had to learn how to date myself. So I took a season where I said, you know what, it's time out. It's time out from getting into another relationship because, you know, sometimes we'll get in one relationship that doesn't work out. 2 weeks later, a month later, we're in the next one. We didn't give ourselves time to fully heal. And so for me, I said, you know what, this season, I'm going to give my time to fully heal. I'm not going to rush it. You know, I'm not going to put a time frame on it. Okay, I'm going to heal for 6 months and then I'm going to get into something else. No, I really took time to really learn Brittany and date Brittany. And so I would go on dates by myself, take myself out to the movies. Hey, here's a table for one. And I embraced that and I love that. And I got to learn me. I learned what I like. I learned what I dislike. You know, I learned what my non-negotiables were. I learned what not to settle in no more. And because of that, if anyone tried to come that way, you know, and it just didn't meet up to those standards or didn't fully embrace the boundaries that I already had set for myself, I was like, no, that's not it. So I would tell anyone to, you know, in your season of healing, take that time to heal. Let your heart heal, especially if you've been in something that's very traumatic, toxic. You know, that doesn't, you know, work or fix or heal overnight. It takes time. So I would definitely tell that person to, once you're healing in that process, to date yourself and also take time. That was my most time where I communed mostly with God. You know, I was in my word. I was getting into, you know, I would say life groups and different things like that. But I wanted to build myself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I started to work out. I was just doing things that what will be healthy for Brittany on all levels and all areas.
I love that because, you know, for our listeners that are listening, dating yourself, right, and healing, that is so important. In order to move on, you have to be able to be healed inside and outside. So I love that. Thank you for sharing those words of wisdom with my audience, Brittany.
No problem, no problem.
So you are the CEO and founder of Finding Love in Purpose. So tell us more about your movement.
Okay, awesome. So this is funny. I would tell anyone, if God gives you a dream, really, really pay attention to it. And that's how FLIP was birthed. FLIP, which stands for Finding Love and Purpose. That's how it was birthed. He gave it to me in a dream. I was writing the letters down, SL, IP. I was writing it down, and then I woke up, and I'm like, what does this mean? And it clearly was finding love and purpose. But the thing about it is, as I was doing this movement, God told me to take out the letter I out of FLIP. And it was just like, it's not about you anymore. Sometimes we'll get things and we think, okay, it's all about us. And what I'm going to get out of it. But it's really, when you're being a servant, it's not about you anymore. And so he told me to take out the I and put in the semicolon to replace that, to let people know that wherever you are in your life, he's not done with you. There's a continuation to this story. So that's why there's a semicolon in the middle, to just signify that God is not finished with us. We're not a finished work. He's still working on us. He's still taking our messes and turning it into messages, our tests into testimony. So he's still doing that thing, turning our pain into purpose. And so that's what FLIP is all about. It is really a movement where I wanted to create a safe platform for women. Like I said earlier, I didn't have that growing up. So me talking about, my pain or my struggles, there was no safe platform. So that's what FLIP is about, to have a safe platform where women can grow in God, where they can grow in their walk, and to learn how to live their purpose out loud, to not be silent anymore, but to fully embrace their self-worth and to really love themselves. That's what it's all about. So it's a growing movement. As I said, it started and kicked off, and now, like in 2020, we got some great things that we're going to be kicking off soon. I can't really say yet, but it's really, like I said, just a safe platform for people to embrace self-worth and to embrace their purpose. And it's for all women with every type of walk of life, yeah.
So how can listeners who are interested in being a part of your movement, how can they get involved?
Okay, that's a good question. So I do have a website where people can go to www.findingloveinpurpose.com. Again, that's www.findingloveinpurpose.com. And that's where not only you can, hear about the story, but also that's where my book is. And you can read that. If you'd like to purchase that, that's where that is on that website. Also with BrittanyNBrooks.com. That's BRITTANY, the letter N, and Brooks, BROOKS.com. So Brittany N Brooks, that's where people can also learn more about FLIP. That's where I really dig into being transparent. As I said, transparency is a bridge to transformation. So what I do blogs, I do weekly blogs, and talk about real life issues that we face as women, or just in people in general. And also, like I said, I have Cup of Joe, where that's every Tuesday, where you can get your daily, devotional in prayer, in the morning, and we're talking about all things God and purpose. So I would definitely say, if you want anything, you're trying to find love and purpose, I would definitely direct you to findingloveinpurpose.com, or you can check out, like I said, my website, BrittanyNBrooks.com.
So definitely go check her out and connect with her, because Brittany is someone to definitely connect with and know. And Brittany, thank you for talking about Cup of Joe, your weekly devotional, because that's what I really want to touch more on now, about your weekly devotional and how listeners can get more involved with the weekly devotional. And where do you plan on taking the Cup of Joe over in the next year or two?
Okay, well, that's a good question. So really, like I said, it comes back to those dreams again, those visions. Mm-hmm. But God was just like, hey, I want you to do something different and, do a devotional. And it kicked off actually this month in October, and I've been doing it weekly, and I've been getting so much feedback from people saying, thank you, this is what I needed, this is, the fresh breath of air, this is what I need. But Cup of Joe is every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Eastern, and you can check that out on my website or, my social media pages, where I post the dial-in number as well as the code. and that is Brittany N Brooks. You can go to my social media pages and find that information. But Cup of Joe is basically, it means Jesus over everything. We weren't designed to carry our burdens. We were never designed to carry all of that pain. And what I want people to learn from that is they can actually, give everything over to Jesus. Sometimes we like to carry it. We'll figure it out ourselves, but we were never designed to figure it out. We're designed to give our problems to the problem solver. And so we talk about whatever God gives us in that moment, whatever that devotional is. We can talk about forgiveness. How do I overcome unforgiveness? How do I walk in my purpose? Or, whatever God gives us, that's what we talk about. And then to kick it off and to end it, we'll leave in prayer. And so it's about a 15 to 20-minute call, but it's enough to get you started for your day. For your second part of your question is where I see this going. I really see it growing to the point where I'm not going to stop until he tells me to stop. So with that being said, I can see it really developing into possibly a podcast. And just seeing it developing in stages where people are actually sending in their topics of, Brittany, I may be facing this type of problem. How can I put Jesus on it? So I definitely see it growing. Like I said, it's in its baby stages, but it's really matured to the point where I'm like, okay, I see why, God, you gave me this vision.
I love it, and I want to tell our listeners I consistently follow you, Brittany, and you're doing some amazing things, right? Doing some amazing things, your platform, you're reaching back and pulling forward. So I just want to commend you for creating these different spaces to help our women, empower our women to be better, to love ourselves better, and to be better women. So thank you.
Thank you so much. This is God, just trying to do what we're supposed to do, while we're here, because time is not given, and with the time that we do have, we have to embrace it, embrace every moment. So that's when I'm here to just fulfill purpose in any way I can.
I love it. So I ask all of my guests this question because I see that you consistently build your own table. So how did you create your seat at the table?
Okay, that's a very good question. I really have to say I accredit it to my brother, LJ. I mean, if anyone follows me, I speak about him often. But in 2017, he really taught me what purpose means. He was diagnosed with cancer June 2017, and he passed away in November 2017. So during those 5 months, I saw purpose differently. And so when we look at purpose, everyone thinks, okay, I'm pursuing my purpose. It has to be this big, huge platform. I'm not pursuing purpose unless I'm on a platform, basically. But that's not what purpose is. Purpose is, are you willing to be used wherever God takes you and wherever he puts you? And so for him to get the glory, for me, my brother's platform was in the hospital. And because of that, I saw so many people's lives have changed, nurses and different people, different types of walks of life where he shined his light, and that light allowed them to even grow stronger in their faith in God and their relationship. And God used him in that platform, in that place, to help others. And so for that, after he had passed away, I learned that if I'm going to pursue purpose, I got to embrace it like never before. And for that, I say, I'm going to do it. I will continue to show up. And so I continue to show up. And it's because of him. He taught me how to show up, and he taught me how to continue to go forth, to continue to speak life, continue to be consistent. And so that's where that came from. I never saw my brother complain. I never saw him murmur, about his situation. So that taught me not to murmur. That taught me not to complain. That taught me to be consistent in everything that I do, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, whether it's blogging, wherever it may be, to be consistent. And so I learned not to stop at the likes. Sometimes we will see, okay, I didn't get enough likes because I posted this, or different things like that. I learned not to stop at the likes. Likes or no likes, I'm still going to keep going. I'm still going to be consistent. And when you have that mindset, that's when your gifts make room for you. That's what the Bible says. Your gifts will make room for you when you continue to be consistent, when you continue to show up. And so for that, God gave, me favor and with man and just different ones. And because of that, my heart was in the right place. My motive was not about, okay, how much money I can make or what big platforms I can have, but to really say, he can see that, hey, her heart's in the right place. She's all about helping people, serving people. It's really a kingdom mindset. And so from that, I would say that's how, the seats were created at the table for that very thing that I went through. God turned that pain, losing my brother, and showed me what purpose really is. And my whole mindset shifted. And from that, that's when it's just like, okay, she's ready. And so It was a very humbling experience, I would say.
And that's why it's so important for us to embrace the process, right? And a lot of people do not like the process, but the process is what gets us to the next level. And so, which leads me into my next question. We all have a process, and you pretty much have spoke about what your process and with losing your brother and how that has pushed you out into your purpose. So what did failure teach you on your journey?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a deep question. Failure taught me that it's a better teacher than success. And I say that because I never learned anything when I won. I never learned anything by consistently winning. I never learned anything when everything went my way. I've learned more in the wilderness than I have learned on the mountaintop. And I'll say that again, I've learned more in the wilderness than I have learned on mountaintops. And I say that to say because in the wilderness, that's where I was developed. That's where I learned different approaches, that there's more than one approach that can work. I learned that, every failure contains a certain amount of humility. Because of failure, it was a good learning experience to teach me how to be humble. Also, with failure, being as a teacher, it taught me to learn new skill sets. And when I say that, I learned things that I thought that I didn't even know I had. But it was because of failure, because after you, fail at something, you go back to the drawing board, but then you pick up another skill. You pick up something that you never knew you could do. And so I would say that failure is exactly the best teacher. It's better than success, I would say. And it taught me how to learn in every season, in every type of environment, because not every season is going to be bright and sunny and clear and the rainbows are out and everything is chirping. It's not going to be that way. But with everything, with so many no's, I learned that, it only takes one yes. And he can touch a heart, and that's it. So I'll definitely say that's what I learned, and what failure really teach me on my journey.
So I love that you said that because, like you stated, we have to embrace that process. And you didn't learn anything by winning. You learned, everything through, different lessons, right? Because that's what I say it is. It's a lesson, right? Lessons that make us better for us to get to that next level. Now, your failure taught you to, pretty much lessons. So what did success teach you? Because you're very successful.
Success, because of the failure, success, I don't look at it as, my mindset is different when it comes to success, meaning to say that I will always stay at a humble state. So I don't care wherever I go, whatever platform he opens. Because of the failure, because of being in the wilderness, I'm always reminded of, being in that sort. So I guess I can truly say that I don't allow it to get too much, to my head because of what I've been through. But I would say success has taught me how to embrace the process, how to really just not only embrace it, but to just own it, because once he brings you there, you're very careful of going back or falling behind. And so I definitely say it taught me to own what he's given me, to own the lesson, to not repeat the lesson. That's what I would definitely say. That's number one, to own the lesson, not repeat the lesson. And another thing about success, it taught me to keep going. You're never going to reach a point where you're like, okay, I'm very successful. Some people may do that, but as for me, it should always be levels to it. So once you reach one level, there should be another level of success. There's never this just flat line benchmark, okay, I reached the ultimate point. You should always be growing. So that's something I've learned.
So you should always remain a student. For all of our listeners that are listening, always remain a student. So, Brittany, what can we expect from you the rest of 2019? We're in fourth quarter, about to walk into November on Friday. What can we expect from you the rest of 2019? Because I know you're going to finish fourth quarter strong.
Yes, and we're already in November. So time has went by fast, but I would definitely say, as I stated, Cup of Joe, that continues on every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Another thing is, aside from the speaking engagements, I have some speaking engagements that are coming up, especially in December, where I'll be attending some conferences, to talk to teens and to talk to women, to speak life to them. But also, I would definitely say, if you just want to learn more about Flip and the movement, just to continue to stay close to that, because we're going to be announcing some things, some classes. God has been birthing some things in me that I want to give out and to pour out to other women. So definitely some workshops are going to be on the way. I'll just put a little birdie in there as well. Another book will be on the way as well. So there's some different things that are coming about that I've been working in secret, working in silence about. So I'm definitely excited. But definitely to close out the end of the year, I definitely do have some speaking engagements for November and December. You can check me out, follow my social media pages, as well as my website, and that information will be posted.
Well, super congratulations on everything that you have going on. I can't wait to see all the great things that God is going to birth in your life in this season and, now in fourth quarter and in 2020 and beyond. So super congratulations and, in advance on all the great things that you're about to do, Brittany.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. So please tell our listeners how they can follow, support, and connect with you on all social media platforms.
Okay, cool. So to connect with me, you can follow me on IG. I have IG and Facebook, and it's very simple. It's my first name, Brittany, Brittany, the letter N, and my last name, Brooks, Brooks. So Brittany N Brooks, you can follow me on IG and Facebook. If you would like to book me for any type of engagements, or just check out any blogs, or check out Cup of Joe video playback videos, because we post those up every week as well. You can go to my website at BrittanyNBrooks.com. So I try to be consistent all throughout so it won't be confusing. So BrittanyNBrooks.com and Brittany N Brooks. You can follow me at IG and Facebook.
So please follow, support, and connect with Brittany. As I stated before, she is someone to know and connect with. So, Brittany, thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to come to the table today. This has been an amazing interview, and I cannot wait to invite you back.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Appreciate you, and thank you for creating this platform. Thank you for your vision. This is very encouraging, and I know that this is going to go even further than what your eyes can see. So thank you so much as well.
Thank you so much, Brittany, and I look forward to continuing to work and collaborate with you in the future.
Exactly. Same here.
Thank you. So I would like to give a special thanks to John Schamberger and Tammy Collins Marquis. I would also like to give a special thanks to Author Kimberly McLemore and my intern, Sarah, from Tennessee State University, and my intern, Vontaria, from Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.